Hi, Francis. My name is Ellen. I'll be correcting this essay for you today. Let's take a look and see what you wrote here. This is the essay about ex-prisoners and if they are the best people to talk to young people about crime. So let's see what you wrote. Being in prison has made some people become, without the two, become responsible citizens later, and it is often said that ex-prisoners are the best counselors for adolescents about bad implications of committing a crime. This essay totally agrees with the above viewpoint because people who have gone to prison have the necessary knowledge due to their experience in prison, and they can inspire teens who are criminals to change. Okay, I like this. This last sentence, it was a little long, but it was successful. It was grammatically correct. So it was a gamble that you took, but it was a successful gamble. The only thing that I would change here is referring to teens as criminals, because this is not about changing already criminals, but it's about preventing crime. So talk to teenagers about the dangers of committing crime. They don't mean already people who are criminals, but they mean kind of like as a preventative measure. Okay. So that's the one thing I would have changed, not calling them teenagers. Maybe you could have said they can inspire at risk teens to avoid crime. That would have been more appropriate here. Okay. Let's look at your body paragraphs now. The first reason why ex-prisoners are the most suitable to counsel. You've spelled a totally different word here. These are the kinds of mistakes you have to be really careful about because not only is it considered a vocabulary mistake, but it would also potentially affect your task achievement score because if the examiner assumes that you mean cancel, it totally changes the meaning of your sentence. Okay. And so that changes task development. It changes even coherence and cohesion because it changes the coherence of the paragraph. So let's see what you said. The first reason why ex-prisoners are the most suitable to counsel teenagers about crime is because they have gained knowledge during their years of imprisonment. It is often said that experience is the best teacher. When people are in prison, they are taught many things, including how they can stay away from further crimes. They can transfer this knowledge to teenagers, which can help them avoid crime and become good citizens. For example, in Nigeria, ex-prisoners are usually invited to schools to counsel teenagers. Here you spelled it right, see? Who have criminal tendencies, and this is because they're believed to have broad experiences about consequences of crime. Okay. I thought you did a really good job in terms of grammar. And apart from that one mistake here, you did a pretty good job with vocabulary too. The truth is you didn't really use any vocabulary that could be considered higher level. It was all pretty safe intermediate vocabulary rather than something a little more advanced. But it was all appropriately used, and so that's also really important. Moving forward, I would like to see maybe some higher level vocabulary, as well as maybe some more advanced structures. Now, one thing that I saw was a little bit of a problem was your overuse of pronouns. And it's an interesting thing for me to say this because what I typically find students do is that they overly use cohesive devices, linkers, like also, furthermore, moreover. You didn't really do that, but what you did instead is you used a lot of pronouns like they, them, they. So, because you were talking about a couple of different things in this paragraph, you were talking about teenagers, you were talking about criminals, this use of and crime as well, in prison. So you had about 4 different things that you were talking about. This use of pronouns like they and them and their, it could create some confusion. So yes, certainly use these, but also be careful. Let me see if I can find an example of what I mean. So when people are in prison, they are taught many things about how they can stay away from further crimes. Okay, fine. That's clear. You said people in prison, and then that's fine. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So For example, in Nigeria, ex-prisoners are usually invited to counsel teenagers who have criminal tendencies, and this is because they are believed to have broad experience. Who? The prisoners or the teenagers? Um, because the last noun that you had here that refers to like a person is teenagers. So it is important to be careful with this kind of thing. Okay. Let's see. So that's one thing I want to point out. Another thing I want to point out is I kind of felt that some of this was a little repetitive. So this paragraph, for example, is 4 sentences long, right? And in the first one, you said that they are the most most suitable because of the knowledge they have. Okay. Then knowledge is the best teacher. Then they are taught many things about how they can stay away from crime. They transfer this knowledge. And then, oh, it's not 4, it's 5. Sorry. They have broad experience with the consequences. So it was a little repetitive, and I don't really feel that you explored this or developed this maybe as richly as you could have. So your first sentence talked about the knowledge they gained. And then I'm wondering if maybe you could have left out this sentence, even though it's a very nice expression, knowledge is the experience is the best teacher. I'm thinking that maybe this paragraph would have been better without it. So they gained knowledge, and then let's talk about that knowledge. When people are in prison, they are taught many things, including how they can stay away from further crimes. Oh, really? How? Why? How does this occur? So this is something you could have developed. Another thing that you could have talked about here is maybe that prison time allows them time for reflection to maybe consider how things went wrong and how they can avoid such misactions in the future. Also, let's not forget that a lot of prisons allow counseling services, some sort of psychological support. And so maybe through this, it will give them new what's the word I want? Kind of insight into their behaviors as well as strength to turn a new leaf after leaving jail. All right, so maybe these are some things you could have talked about. All right, so that's just some suggestions that I think would have made for a really more richly developed paragraph. So let's see what you wrote in the next one. Another reason for what? This is a new paragraph, Francis. And so another reason why prisoners should counsel youngsters is. So be specific, okay? So another reason why ex-prisoners should be allowed to counsel youngsters is that change of behavior in ex-prisoners can be an inspiration for many teenagers towards, again, not quitting, but avoiding crime. Remember, this is supposed to be a preventative measure. That is to say that adolescents who commit crime but think they can never stop such behavior can have hope that they can quit their criminal behavior, since some people could do so. For example, some young criminals stopped stealing after Justin Keeb, who was a notorious criminal, quit his behavior after 15 years of imprisonment. All right, so this is definitely underdeveloped. There's not really a lot of sentences. I can count them. It looks to me like there's 3 sentences in this entire paragraph, and it's a little underdeveloped, not just in terms of the length, but also in terms of the ideas. So another thing that I want to talk about is, like I said, this wasn't so much about quitting crime once you've started, but actually preventing crime before young teenagers go down this road. So I don't entirely agree with the perspective you took on this. But if if you absolutely had to, I would have said just more things about this. So what do I mean? I mean, you could have extended this argument just a little further. Some teenagers who have begun a life of crime feel that this is you know, a road with no way out, and so that this is their life from now on, and there is no way of escaping this. But seeing how people can turn their life around and how they can make a difference in their lives and make something of their lives, this can be very inspirational to teenagers who in fact do want to escape the road that they have begun. All right, so just a couple of extra sentences like this, I think really would have made a difference. And then you could also add only people who have experienced prison can effectively convey this sort of revelation. Okay, because you also want to explain why prisoners are not just good, but they are the best people to talk about that. So that's why you would want to use expressions like only someone who has been down this path. That's how it becomes more effective. Okay. All right. So, conclusion now. People who have been imprisoned are the ideal counselors for teenagers regarding the negative implications of committing a crime because through their experience in prison, they have acquired the necessary knowledge for counseling teams about crime and adolescents who are criminals. What? Hold on. They have acquired the necessary knowledge for counseling teams about crime, and adolescents who are criminals can look up to them to amend their behavior. Okay, fine. So I hesitate to say it again. This probably shouldn't have been about teenagers who are already criminal minds, but more about preventing this kind of behavior. That would have been more appropriate. Um, so yeah, that's one thing to talk about there. On the whole, I thought your grammar was good. I thought you did well in terms of accuracy. I would like to see more advanced vocabulary, more advanced grammar as well. And of course, I'd like to see a little more extended development in some of your ideas, like I said before. I'd love to see you on the course, all right, so that you can learn everything you need to know to excel in IELTS. Of course, there's also essay correction packages with us. If you enjoyed this feedback, you can get more. I know for one, I would love to see what you're doing with task one so that we can help you and overcome any sort of weaknesses that perhaps you might have in your task ones. Okay, so let's see which option is best for you among the ways that are available to work with us. And I definitely look forward to seeing more of your work in the future. Thanks for sending this essay in, and I look forward to hearing from you.